Hi, this is Mr. Payton. Welcome to another episode of Mental Fitness. Today I want to talk a little bit more about cognitive awareness. Now, I define cognitive awareness as those academic skills that we have and our ability to use those academic skills. Reading, writing, mathematics, problem solving, whatever you want to call the last part. What I was thinking about the other day is that, when I go to schools and when I'm in a classroom with students, particularly middle school, the question always comes up, why are we doing this? And I don't like school. And I think a lot of students don't see the purpose in school at a certain age. They feel like they have enough skills, they feel like they're capable enough, and so they just kind of lose interest. I think part of that is on the teachers, and as a teacher, I take responsibility for that. I think one, we don't make it very interesting. Two, we don't make it engaging. But three, and most importantly, and something I focus on the most, is we don't pay attention to our audience. So let's take, for example, learning how to divide. And this is something you learn fairly early on. But when you're teaching someone how to divide, if you just start off by teaching them, the steps to divide numbers and all the different skills that you need, and that might be useful to someone. But if you start off teaching someone how to divide using things that are real life, food, recipes, figuring out how many things you need to buy for a party or something like that, I think then immediately it triggers a response for the learner that, hey, this is something I'm going to be able to use, so I might want to pay attention. I mean, who doesn't like to eat? So why wouldn't we use food as our introduction? Why wouldn't we use recipes or shopping as our introduction? Now let's fast forward a little later on in life, where maybe a young person is learning about the history of the Civil War or the Constitution. If we start to put in real life situations, maybe set up a court case, maybe let someone be a judge and jury, and make it something that's engaging and applicable, then possibly these lessons become a bit more effective for the students. Now that's on the teacher's end. On the student's end, you have to keep in mind, at a certain age, school's purpose is really for you to develop mental discipline. The discipline to be able to solve a problem, the discipline to be able to complete an assignment that's long. That's why the assignments are so much more, they seem more boring to you, but they're more involved. We make them longer on purpose. We want to see if you have the capacity, the mental capacity to do longer and more involved assignments. You see them as more boring and more work, but what we're trying to do as educators and as adults is to build up your ability to do more difficult tasks for longer periods of time. Now, as a father and as someone who's owned homes and lived on his own for quite some time, I can tell you that all of that stuff is very valuable. When you have to try to figure out how you're going to make your money last for a certain amount of time, or when you have to decide if you should stay at a job and you want to, change, writing a resume, looking for jobs, knowing what to look for, that involves all of the skills you learn in school, your ability to read, your ability to comprehend. And then when you make that first initial letter or reach out to contact a business that you're interested in working for, that requires your writing skills. And so, yes, school could be more interesting. But students, we need to take a little bit more ownership on ourselves and say, okay, how can I use this to help me? Even if it's in your worst subject. For some of you, it might be history. Some of you, it might be math. Whatever your most challenging subject is where you should focus the most. It's not difficult to do well in English language arts if you're a good reader. It's not difficult to do well in math if you're good at math. But it may be difficult for you to do science or history or writing for that matter. That's where you need to just remind yourself, the reason why I need to do well in this class or during this particular assignment is to build my ability to function as an adult. I think if we can start to repurpose our mind, then we can be a bit more successful, or at least find a more effective way to complete our assignments in school. And so that's what the word cognitive means, our ability to function, mentally, our ability to use the skills that our brains have, our ability, as I said, to comprehend and to compute. Those may seem like difficult words, but that's why you're in school. For those of you who are at the high school level, I'm sure it's even more disheartening. You're like, you know what, I'm old enough, my body is physically prepared, I'm ready to just drop out. You know, I had a former student tell me that recently. He actually just was straight up, I'm gonna drop out. And I was so distraught by that, and he kind of challenged me and told me that, you know, if I created something because I was one of his favorite teachers, that he might consider reading it. So I took on that challenge and created a resource for that young man, and now it's up on Amazon or whatever. But the point is that he got to a point in high school where he just felt like cognitively and physically he was ready to be out in the world. And you know what? I know this isn't popular to say, but he might have been. But I would have liked to have seen him finish high school for one reason at all, just to prove to himself that he could accomplish something that he didn't want to do, that was difficult, just for the sake of mental discipline. There are many things in adult life that we don't want to do, that we have to do, whether it's paying taxes or obeying traffic laws. But mental discipline will get you through those rough days, those stressful days, those days when you're just not at your best. And that's what it's all about. I know that's not what school is promoted to be, but that's what it's for. It's to train your mind to handle situations, to do the things that need to get done, regardless of how much enjoyment you get out of it. So often we spend our time trying to enjoy ourselves. We're streaming music, we're streaming movies, shows, and all this stuff, and it's all about entertainment. But you got to pay for that entertainment. You got to pay for that through your skills as an individual. If you have some professional skills that you can market and make money off of, that's great. If you can create a business, that's fine. Or if you're just an excellent worker at whatever task you choose to do, that'll get it done. But the idea that we're just going to sit around in our houses on our phones or on our tablets or whatever devices we use and just have fun all the time, it's not realistic. And I feel like that's why it's frustrating for a lot of middle school and high school students, and why it's difficult to get through school. So let's try to repurpose our minds, focus in on the cognitive skills that we need to improve and be the best that we can be. And just try to, you know, again, I don't expect you to enjoy school all the way through, because again, there's a two parts there. Teachers and schools have to make it more engaging for you. Absolutely, I agree. But do your part as well. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you found some value in it. This has been another episode of Mental Fitness. Thank you, and have a great day.